What is up, friends, YouTube and motorcycle enthusiasts? This is Accelerate coming at you with a mod update from our YZ125X. Let's get into it. Alright, my friends, we're going to talk about the mods that I chose to do. This is the first major round of mods for my YZ125X. As many of you guys know, I just got this bike. I traded it for my 2015 YZ250 FX. So I'm all two-stroke all the time in the garage for me, which is awesome. Alright, so let's start top down, guys. First thing I did was these Acerbis X Factory handguards. I put the X Factories on my wife's KLX 140 over there. Seemed like they're a pretty good deal overall. I wanted to give them a try. I really like Acerbis. You'll notice that the theme here is I've used a lot of Acerbis items. I think mostly because I want to keep things light. The polymer stuff is very light. This is a light bike, and the things that I add to, I want to keep very minimal. I don't want to add a bunch of heavy aluminum or metal stuff to it. Whether that'll bite me later, we'll see. But I'm liking these Acerbis handguards. I will say that I also added the Fast Company threaded insert that I also put on my Beta. That's essentially, you take the bar, whenever you order these, you receive a tap. You tap the bar, and then this thread locker, this nylon thread locker threads into the bar, which gives you something to hold on to. That way, that expander nut, that just gets thrown in the trash. You're not using that. It locks everything in really solid, which I really, really like. Speaking of the bars, I think every bike wants a little bit of Beta in them. So I ended up using my Beta OEM bar on this bike. So why did I do that? Well, this bar actually came with the YZ OEM bend, and it's just a little bit higher, and then the sweep is a little farther back. So this Beta Enduro bend is it's a very low bar, and it's a very straight-like bar, which I like for off-road and more technical situations. So I figured I'd go ahead and put the Beta bar on the Yamaha. I've ridden it around a little bit. I haven't tested too much of this, but what I've felt of it, I really like. So we'll see how it does. I may end up putting another pair of flex bars on here. We'll see as I continue to test the flex bars. My initial impressions are that they're really good. We'll see if the YZ ends up getting a pair. But for now, they're just going to get the YZ's just going to get the Beta bars. So moving along the protection line, you'll notice I have some Acerbis fork guards on both sides. Again, cheap, easy items to keep those forks from getting marred up in the rocks. You will notice that there's no disc brake guard yet. I am probably going to get the Acerbis polymer disc brake guard. Is it as good as the Enduro Engineering stuff? No, it's not. But at the same time, with the theme of trying to keep everything as light as possible on this bike, I'm willing to make the gamble. If I end up bringing a brake disc rotor, then so be it. But I think the Acerbis brake disc guard will offer the protection that I need without too much compromise. You'll also notice that I have Acerbis ignition covers on both sides, as well as the Poly Sport swing arm covers. This is standard stuff for me, guys. You know how I roll. I like the protection for the parts of the bike that are more a core part of the bike, like the swing arm. You will also notice that I have no protection for the FMF fatty pipe. That's right. I am not running a wraparound skid plate or any kind of armadillo or carbon fiber. The P3 carbon fiber is up there in the box. I'm turning over a new leaf with two-stroke pipes. So as it gets beat up and dented up, I'll just send it away to have it fixed or replace it. I'm trying to keep everything as light as possible. And also protect the neck of the flange, which, as many of you guys know, it's kind of a topic for debate. The distributed force of the pipe guards that bolt to the pipe itself can cause the neck to crack on the jug or the head, or things get dicey. I'm just gonna give it a shot. So that's where I am with that. You will notice there is an Acerbis skid plate under there. I am really liking this skid plate, guys. I gotta admit, the Acerbis skid plate is a good price. It comes up around where the water pump housing and stuff is. It protects up in here. And check this out. Look at that, a linkage guard for a YZ125. Now obviously it bolts to a 125, but this is the X. So I gotta admit, for the price, the fitment, and the options that you get with that Acerbis skid plate, I'm loving it. I think it's a really, really cool part for the cost. So that pretty much wraps up the protection piece. Let's move into the more juicy mods. Well, guys, I really went straight for the throat here and pulled the trigger. I went ahead and went to BRAD's website and I ordered the BRAD Freight Train kit, power package essentially, for my 125X. So for those of you that don't know who BRAD is, he's a big Yamaha guy. He rides a YZ250X and then also the 125X recently. Well, he has tested and utilized these parts over time, and he sells this package. And he's essentially a vendor, somebody that supports this stuff. Based on the information that I have read and the type of riding that I want to do with the 125X, I think these mods are going to be really pinnacle for helping me with the low end, giving me good smooth throttle control, because everything's going to be really, really tight with this 125. It's not a lot of displacement, so I wanted everything to be crisp down low. I also have never used anything other than the Keihin carb on my 300RR, so I didn't want to deal with tuning woes with the factory Mikuni, and I don't have a lot of experience with jetting, so I figured, you know what, I'm just going to give this a shot. So what this kit includes is an Apex head. I went with the XCSX head, which is, there's only two options for the 125. I got the one that's ultimately for the woods, right? Low end, mid range, that's what that head focuses on. Also went with a Boyenson rad valve, so this replaces the factory reeds. Again, focusing on overall power, smoothing out the throttle, low end rideability. And then finally, the kit includes an H-Series Electron carburetor. If you guys don't know much about Electrons, I mean, just do a quick search. It's essentially a carb that doesn't have jets in a traditional sense. It's a self-adjusting for altitude and self-adjusting for temperature. It does have a way to, quote, tune the carb to richen and lean things up top and down low, but overall it's a much simpler setup. I gotta say, I fired the bike up after doing these mods, and it fired right up. I'm pretty blown away, frankly. Whenever I ordered these parts, I did say what mods were done, which would included the FMF Fatty pipe, as well as the Shorty FMF muffler, and the type of riding that I do. So with that in mind, I mean, it seems like they've got the carb set up pretty well. I haven't totally shaken it down yet, but we'll see whenever I get out there and ride and put some more hours on it. Alright guys, so that wraps it up for my first rounds of major mods for my YZ125X. So what am I missing and what do I plan on doing? Well, I can easily say just a few things. Number one, my Acerbis frame guards haven't come in yet. They weren't a part of the main package. Whenever I ordered the rest of my stuff, they were on back order. So yeah, that'll obviously go in. The next thing is tubeless. You guys know me. I will definitely be putting tubeless on this bike. But with some of the other things that I wanted to buy, it was kind of a big purchase right out of the box. So I wanted to wait. I figured I'd give the tires and stuff a little bit of a chance and ride them, see how they do. But I will definitely be putting tubeless on this bike. And you know, the battle axes are actually they're in really good condition. So realistically, I'll probably just put those tires back on, or maybe a gummy or something. Yeah, you never know. But we'll see as far as that goes. Other than that, there's really not too much that I have planned beyond what I'm going to do with that stuff. I will say, I noticed the Works Connection radiator guards that are on this bike. I'm not a huge fan of them. They're a little thin. And I noticed, taking the plastics on and off and things like that, I wasn't overly impressed with them. I may do some Enduro Engineering guards. With that in mind, also, we'll see how the fuel mileage goes with my 2.1 gallon tank. It's possible that I could end up with a 3-gallon tank again. It will definitely not be clear because it will be black. That's just how I roll. You guys know this. I have a theme, I have looks, something in my mind, that's what I go for. So I may end up putting in a Acerbis black tank and just selling the natural tank that it came with. If that's the case, then we'll see. But we'll see how the Electron does for fuel mileage. A lot of people say it really helps with mileage. So we'll see. All right, guys. Hope you guys get out there. Have a fantastic week. Leave some comments down below the description. If you guys like these mods or have any recommendations of other mods, and keep an eye on the channel, guys. Keep that notification button on because I got a really cool riding trip coming up where all this stuff, both my YZ125X, all the new stuff that I've done to the beta, all this stuff is going to get tested thoroughly for about a week riding trip that I have coming up. So super exciting stuff. You guys get out there, get on two wheels, ride a dirt bike. This is Accelerate once again, signing off.